The UK's biggest supermarket chain, Tesco, launches a new business today. Steph is here to tell us all about the budget market. Steph, morning.
Yes, morning to you. It's interesting because Tesco have been really tight-lipped about this. In fact, they've made the staff of this new business sign a non-disclosure. That's how much they don't want all of us to find out in advance of what they're launching today. Morning, everyone. Yeah, there's a big reveal later this morning. What we do know about the chain is that it's going to be called Jack's. This is in a nod to the founder of Tesco, Jack Cohen, who set up the business back in 1919. So nearly 100 years later, they're now branching into the budget supermarket chains. Well, let's talk to Natalie Berg, who's a retail expert at NBK Retail. Thanks for joining us. It's really interesting, this, isn't it, the secrecy around it? Because normally businesses do loads to try and launch a lot in advance of the actual opening. So what do we know?
Well, we'll get all the details in the coming hours, but we know that the stores will be smaller. We know that there'll be limited assortment, so there'll be fewer products on shelves, probably around 3,000 versus the 30,000 you'd find in a big supermarket. And the discount model is all about simplicity and ruthless efficiency. So just like when you walk into an Aldi or a Lidl, the in-store environment will be no frills, products on pallets, none of the typical features you'd find in a traditional supermarket.
So why are they doing it? Because Tesco is still the biggest grocery retailer, isn't it? It's got a third of the market share nearly. So why are they doing this?
Well, I think it's an admission that the discount supermarkets have fundamentally changed the way that we shop, and there's simply no sign of them abating. Tesco has tried over the years to cut prices. They've tried to launch their own discount brands. In some of their stores, they've even launched discount zones where shoppers can find products for £1 or less. But the reality is that none of this has worked. So over the past decade, the discounters have been chipping away at Tesco's market share. And I think this is really just a last resort.
So do you think it will work then?
Well, the odds are against them. We've seen supermarkets like Sainsbury's, like Asda, attempt to launch a chain of discount stores alongside their supermarkets, and it hasn't worked. I think that if Tesco gets scale, if they can differentiate from Aldi and Lidl, and if they can make sure that they're not cannibalizing sales from their existing stores, then they have a chance. But the big question is really, how is this going to differentiate from what Aldi and Lidl are already doing? What can Tesco do that's different or better?
And also, isn't this then potentially going to take away business from their Tesco stores? So they might be just attracting their own customers in a way.
Yeah, that's the big risk, is self-cannibalization. And that's why, again, we'll get all the details soon, but I imagine that the stores will be very focused on their own label products. We won't see a lot of the big brands that you'd find in a traditional supermarket. And I think they're going to undercut Aldi and Lidl on price.
Oh, interesting. It's an interesting time again to be a shopper, isn't it? But also at the same time, we've got the talks of Sainsbury's and Asda's merging and becoming essentially the biggest grocery retailer in the UK. Where are we at with that? Because there's been a bit of news on that this morning, hasn't there?
Yeah, that's right. So it was announced this morning that the CMA wants to further investigate that merger. And that's no surprise, because we're talking about the second and third largest supermarkets coming together. So there's bound to be an overlap in store locations. There's concern over these two supermarkets having greater control over their suppliers, which could lead to higher prices. So there are certainly some concerns there. But I think that, alongside the Tesco news, really highlights the scale of the challenges facing the sector.
Yeah, and that news from the Competition Markets Authority this morning was interesting. Natalie, thank you very much for your time this morning. Appreciate you coming in. Any thoughts on it? Do get in touch. It's always good to know what actual people, shoppers, think about all of this as well. That's it for me for now.
I love that term, self-cannibalisation.
Yeah.
I feel I'm learning all the time. Thank you.